Jimbo Fisher doubled down on his defense of Texas A&M recruiting in an interview with San Antonio, Texas TV station, saying just one of the 11 early enrollees in the Aggies' #1 recruiting class has an NIL deal. And JJ's still here with us as well. Stephen A., does Nick Saban have a point?
Well, I think he has a point. But let me say this. He was wrong to call out Jimbo Fisher and Deion Sanders at Jackson State. He's wrong to do that. He should never have done that. And he needed to apologize. And I totally agree with Primetime in terms of if you're going to say something publicly, then, make the call and apologize or do whatever you're going to do publicly as opposed to calling them for a one-on-one conversation after you threw their names out there for public consumption. So I think Nick Saban was wrong about that. But I think there's a bigger picture here that people are ignoring. And I don't know whether this is right or not, which is why I wanted JJ and Dan in on this subject here. I have no clue. I haven't really looked into this at all. You got name, image, and likeness. Clearly, I have felt over the years that players were getting screwed over, and there needed to be some level of compensation that was thrown in the direction of college athletes because college programs were getting over, by a mile in terms of that, and I thought that needed to be addressed. However, when you listen to college coaches talk about this subject now, what they're telling me, guys, is this. You have agents involved since they're now allowed to have agents. And what you were supposed to do was go outside the corridors of the football program and to use your name, image, and likeness to monetize your brand, per se, for lack of a better phrase, to go out there and to make money for yourself, via promotion, marketing, et cetera, with various businesses that might support a program. And instead, what you're seeing is agents approaching programs, telling programs you need to take care of this player on this level because if you don't, then we got this other program for him to come to. And that essentially programs are being extorted. Now, you got a lot of people who don't want to hear that from any kind of college football program, considering the money that they've made off of these athletes and the monies that athletes have been deprived of making all of these decades. However, my question to both of you is, if that is indeed the case, which sounds like that's what it is coming from Nick Saban doesn't seem to me to be somebody focused on a program, which is why it was so egregious for him to mention program. It seemed to me like he has a problem with the NIL issue and how it's compromised college programs. And if it's compromised college programs, guys, I'm just deducing from a logical perspective. I'm just deducing that Nick Saban is saying what he said because other programs are not speaking out about the NIL effect on college football in the manner that he deems necessary. That's what I peeled from it. The floor is y'all's.
Yeah, Stephen A., I agree with a lot of what you said. I think the final point is the big one. What Nick Saban said, there's a lot of truth to it. The reality is the NIL has decreased his advantage a little bit. In recruiting, now when he goes at A&M and goes at Deion Sanders and Jimbo Fisher and says that they bought players, he is minimizing them and their ability to do their job as good as he does. Right? He's minimizing their ability to go out and recruit. And that's where, I think he crossed the line. Nick Saban has always had an advantage when it comes to recruiting. When it comes to three things. One, sitting in a living room and talking to recruits' mom and dad and their family, and them sitting there going, the discipline and the habits that he is going to force my son to kind of adapt to with his life is going to be good for him. Number two, the Bama brand. The Bama brand and the ability to win a national championship. And then three, can you get or help my son get to the NFL? There's not a lot of schools that really encapsulate those three big things in recruiting. So he's always had an advantage when it came to like the elite level players, right? Now with the NIL, that changes the game a little bit because I have friends who are high-level recruits in college football right now. Their sons are, my friends' sons are high-level recruits. I promise you, they have had conversations, and sometimes the recruit goes, how much are you going to pay me? And then can I get this other school to try and offer it? Now, NIL does not mean that kids can just get paid, to my knowledge. You can't just say this company is going to pay this player. It has to be, through their name, image, and likeness, compensated per the market, right? And so I think that when Nick Saban is kind of having a conversation through the media to some of the boosters within or backing of the Alabama program as well. Hey guys, we weren't number one this year. Someone else was. They obviously used it to their advantage better than we did, and we're going to have to continue to adjust if we think that we're going to stay at the top. But I do think that there's truth at the the foundation of what he said.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.